Yeah, Meta gets an L. Meta gets a total L. Meta, you're trash. I really don't know what else to say about you. Everybody knows that on Facebook, you are supposed to, when you are live streaming, post your live streaming groups. Meta's trying to say I'm spamming. I've been doing this for a while now. So now all of a sudden I'm spamming. Crazy. Isn't that's just I really just don't know anymore what to do with Meta. Like I'm just done with it. It's trash. Like when we talk about supporting black businesses, I'm a podcaster, just like every other podcaster in the world, and I can't post. Oh man, my camera's looking crazy, guys. Let's see if we can lower the. Let's get right into the show. Actually, we'll deal with Meta another time. Let's get right into the show. Let's talk about Giselle Maxwell.
Of its 2-day interview with Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Back with me now is NBC's Tom Winter. Tom, thanks so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. So there's been so much discussion about this. What are the potential ramifications of releasing the Justice Department's interview with Ghislaine Maxwell?
So, Kristen, I look at our jobs, and of course, we earn a living, but our job really is to represent our audience. And the best way that I can do that is get as much information as possible. So reporters are salivating at the idea that it would be possible that for so many years, my entirety of my career, getting an interview that the Justice Department and the FBI might have done with somebody that is not included eventually in either a court filing or some sort of exhibit at trial, that's like next to impossible. So the idea that they're going to set the precedent of doing this is something that really has reporters' attention, because it's typically one of the most kind of behind the wall records that exist. It's just really hard to get. It's very unusual. And the idea that it would be put out as a transcript, perhaps with a recording as well. Obviously, the potential for more information from Maxwell to get out there is large. I would also point out, though, it's not clear to us, was there a lot of adversarial questioning? In other words, did the Justice Department really push back on some of her assertions? I mention that because, of course, Maxwell was charged with perjury in a 2016 deposition involved in some of the civil litigation against her. Prosecutors ultimately did not pursue those charges because she had already been convicted of sex trafficking and other related charges, including with girls as young as the age of 14. So this is somebody who's had according to prosecutors, a very difficult relationship with the truth over the years. And of course, the challenge is this comes out and now she's allowed to effectively have a platform for herself. It's going to require a lot of reporting and a lot of fact checking.
Well, the other piece of this story that we're watching and that you've been reporting on so extensively, Tom, is the fact that the Justice Department has faced scrutiny for transferring Maxwell to a minimum security prison in Texas. Some other big names in that prison complex. How common is this? How unusual is the move?
Yeah, it's highly uncommon. I can't stress that enough. I've been doing this for over a decade. I've talked to people that have been doing it twice as long. This is not something that typically happens for somebody who's been convicted of the types of charges that Ghislaine Maxwell has been convicted of. It would have required a waiver for her to be transferred. Not unusual, Kristen, to what a senior administration official told our colleague Monica Alba. People get transferred for security reasons and for other reasons all the time, but not kind of a step down so much in security. Just as an example, over the weekend, Elizabeth Holmes, who was, of course, convicted for her role in fraud-related charges tied to the blood company called Theranos, there were pictures of her taken working out. And those pictures were clear as a bell because one whole portion of this facility has a short fence no razor wire. There's no extensive gate for
Mic
cars.
check, 1, 2,
So
1,
I
2.
think it just kind of
Y'all can hear me.
underscores the lack of security that exists at this particular camp, Kristen.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know you'll continue to follow all of the angles very closely. Tom Winter, as always, thank you. Appreciate your reporting.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking.
All right. So let's break this down real quick. This consideration of releasing Giselle Maxwell that we hear about in the mainstream media, because she was moved to a different type of prison. And also we're hearing about how they want to basically, my camera is just looking so awful today. I really am sorry about this, guys. This is okay. But we're going to keep going, and hopefully it adjusts itself. Giselle Maxwell, we're going to hear the transcripts. We're going to hear the interview. I think that they are going to figure out if they can release her if she doesn't find ways to implicate Trump, from what I have saw so far. So this just means that, and I'm going to be front here, on all those girls that were in trouble and everything, all those girls that are victims, the country doesn't care about them. The country does, but the administration does not care about them. And why? Because the administration is covering up what they are doing. That's why. This administration, just like the Biden administration, just like every Democrat, Republican, there is complicity. And we don't know how strong it is. We don't know who's being blackmailed all the way. We only have a few names from what we have throughout the years. My camera is looking so crazy, guys. I so apologize about this. Hopefully it fixes itself. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. Let me see if I could do something else with the adjustments. I want to thank everybody for coming on to the Don't Underestimate Your Enemy live stream. And I want to give a huge shout out to the L that Meta is now fully about. So I'm very, very pissed off with Meta because I can't share my live stream onto my own Facebook account because there's some spam thing that they're trying to say is going on, when really, like, it's not spam. Everyone that live streams reshares to their account. Everyone that live streams on Facebook that has a podcast like mine reshares their live stream on every single group, podcasting group. This is what these podcasting groups are made for. We stay in our lanes. And I'm just automatically just very upset with Meta. I think it's a conspiracy because they don't want me to be talking about Donald Trump hiding the Epstein files. We're going to talk about a lot of things today on the show, but I need to remind people that this Epstein shit, do not stop talking about it. And if they free Giselle Maxwell, make her life uncomfortable. Make everyone's life uncomfortable, people out there. Whenever you see them in the dining halls, at concerts, events. Hey, so what's up with that Epstein list? This girl, this woman, let's see if this works. I'm going to try to reset my camera. All right. So we're using the regular camera right now. Let's see how that goes. I'm just so upset. Shouts out to everybody that's watching. Please send a comment if you would like to. If you have any questions, go ahead, comment, like, share. We're talking about right now the Epstein files and how all of a sudden there's no Epstein's list, and how Giselle Maxwell is all of a sudden is, we're going to hear this testimony, and I'm very, very interested in what she says in this testimony. Very, very interested. I am of the caliber is that they're going to use this to try to exonerate Trump from any type of public opinion that we have about him. considering what's going on right now. And I don't know how much the public is going to buy the BS that they're trying to put together, because you already lost whatever kind of integrity that you had already. You already lost that integrity when you said there was no Epstein list. No one's going to believe you anymore at this point. And if they do, they are crazy. Can people see me? I'm over here looking at the live stream and I don't see my face. Let me see if I can take the camera off. This is crazy. I have never encountered anything like this in my entire life. This is great. Anyway, I'm going to log out and log back in, guys. I'll be right back. The live stream still should be going on, and we'll put this in front to show an honor. Okay, be right back. Okay, we look a lot better now. Oh yeah, we clicking on all cylinders now, baby. I'm glad that you guys didn't leave. Thank you. You guys are stayed. You guys have stayed. All right, so let's get on to um I want to read. I want for people that just logged in. I want to show you this video real quick about Giselle Maxwell. We're going to re-show it. And where's my timestamp?
Of its 2-day interview with Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Back with me now is NBC's Tom Winter. Tom, thanks so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. So there's been so much discussion about this. What are the potential ramifications of releasing the Justice Department's interview with Ghislaine Maxwell?
So, Kristen, I look at our jobs, and of course, we earn a living, but our job really is to represent our audience. And the best way that I can do that is get as much information as possible. So reporters are salivating at the idea that it would be possible that for so many years, my entirety of my career, getting an interview that the Justice Department and the FBI might have done with somebody that is not included eventually in either a court filing or some sort of exhibit at trial, that's like next to impossible. So the idea that they're going to set the precedent of doing this is something that really has reporters' attention, because it's typically one of the most kind of behind the wall records that exists. It's just really hard to get. It's very unusual. And the idea that it would be put out as a transcript, perhaps with a recording as well, obviously the potential for more information from Maxwell to get out there is large. I would also point out, though, it's not clear to us, was there a lot of adversarial questioning? In other words, did the Justice Department really push back on some of her assertions? I mention that because, of course, Maxwell was charged with perjury in a 2016 deposition involved in some of the civil litigation against her. Prosecutors ultimately did not pursue those charges because she had already been convicted of sex trafficking and other related charges, including with girls as young as the age of 14. So this is somebody who's...
So if these transcripts, I think they're going to release them edited. And when they release these transcripts, they're going to exonerate Trump in their opinion. That's my opinion. And I bet you they're going to figure out a way to free her. And also they're going to like literally give no justice to any of the victims. Over what, 2,000 victims? 2,000? Is that what the last numbers are? All these young girls and boys that have been harmed on this island, all these people. You know what I mean? And I know there's a list because they've been saying there's a list. And to say that there's no list is insane. Pam Bondi literally said there was on her desk, and now there isn't. Now there isn't. Okay, let's talk about the dude that owns Victoria's Secrets. Why he gave Epstein all that money? Why nobody wants to buy Epstein's house? Where did Epstein get rich from? Was he with Mossad? Why is Giselle Maxwell's father connected to Mossad? Israel definitely has their hands on this. Mossad definitely was doing a blackmail ring. Why is Prince Andrew still in exile? Lost his title, everything. Nobody want to fuck with him. Explain to me how you guys dropped the ball here, and now you're trying to pretend that you did not drop the ball. It's okay. It's okay. We all see what's going on in the world right now. We're going to talk about it. All right. I have my list. I have my notes. We're going to talk about it. But the first thing we're going to talk about is how everything that you're trying to do right now, Donald Trump, is a distraction because you don't want people to talk about the Epstein list. And on this show, my little show with my 17 people here watching right now, shouts out to all 17 people that's watching right now, and to the people in the future that's going to come on 18. You guys got any question? We'll show the comments. We will show the comments right here. I got it set up. Pop your comments in. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Now, Trump, we are on your ass. Mark my words. We will keep reminding you and your colleagues about the Epstein's list. And we will make people feel uncomfortable 24/7. You come to New Haven, best believe we're going to ask you about that. Best believe, baby boy. Oh, man. It's this type of stuff is just really sickening. And this is what pisses me off about this system because, you know, actually, let me get the video prepped up ready for you guys about what's going on in DC. There is a war against the poor that has been raging on and on and on in so many kinds of ways. The demonization of the poor is just absolutely ridiculous. People are being criminalized for being poor. Here in New Haven, here all over the country. Criminalized for being poor. What is your crime? Oh, he's poor. That is his crime. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? All right. Let's check this out. Let's see what's going on in DC. And this is ridiculous.
The Washington, D.C. police force and deploying the National Guard to crack down on crime in the city. Let's get to ABC 10's Jay Struberg, who joined us now with complete details about what's happening. Jay?
Yeah, good morning, Walt. President Trump ordering hundreds of National Guardsmen to take over policing in Washington, D.C., saying we could see them in the streets of D.C. in the coming weeks. The president declaring a public safety emergency in D.C., saying crime is spiraling out of control, but his depiction stands in stark contrast.
There's crime everywhere in the United States. Everywhere. The poverty rate, people living check to check. Hell, here in New Haven, 50% of residents that have homes are living paycheck to paycheck. 50%. 50%. Homelessness is rising. Rent is rising. Newsflash, when there's more poverty, there's more crime. Now, Washington, D.C. did say something, which they're going to say in this video. The mayor said this. She said that the crime has decreased by 30% or something like that. And I think the reason why, from looking at how they do things in New Haven, how they did things in Baltimore, they're not reporting crimes of youth. Not really extreme crimes. That's my guesstimate of what's really going on. Let's play the video some more.
contrast to the official figures, which show crime in the capital is actually declining. Violent crime recently hitting a 30-year low, down 26% since last year. Burglary down 19%. Murder down 12%.
I think my first reaction was that I've seen this movie before. I think that this is an unnecessary show of force in search of a problem. Crime is down in D.C. by double digits.
Trump has the power to deploy federal agents in D.C. for an emergency, but experts say Congress would need to approve any federal control of the district beyond 30 days. Meantime, across D.C., peaceful protesters held banners that read "National Disgrace," others chanting "Trump must go now." And this morning, the president is threatening similar deployment in other cities, saying the model in the nation's capital could be used to combat crime in cities like Chicago, Oakland, and Baltimore, all cities notably in Democratic-led states. Now, two Democratic lawmakers say they plan to reintroduce legislation that would grant D.C. full control of their National Guard and police.
Let me show y'all how ridiculous this is, because real quick before I show the video of how they literally just walked up on two people sitting on their front porch, smoking a cigarette, getting harassed by police. That's the video I'm gonna show that Breakthrough News was able to show you what they're doing in DC. They gave the homelessness. Let me get the homeless people right now have ultimatums. Okay. And what is those ultimatums right now? Donald Trump said that the homelessness has to either leave DC, go to a shelter, or get arrested. Is that not criminalizing homelessness? Where is getting arrested ever an option for homeless people? Why? They do it a lot here in New Haven. Tony Hart, for instance, when she was mayor, let that go on, and people were being ticketed for loitering and public indecency, whatever they could give them a ticket for and arrest them for. And guess what? These tickets were like $90, and the homeless people cannot pay these tickets. So what happens when you can't pay your ticket? You go to jail. So New Haven was criminalizing homeless people. So we can't just sit here and just say, oh, this is only a Donald Trump thing. Now, what Donald Trump is doing is using the Constitution in a way where, DC is not a state. DC is under federal rule as well, too. There's something like the Home Act or something like. I should have read up more on this, guys. This was really, really new stuff, and there's a lot of information to give out. And he can control for 30 days, and then there's Congress that can go and give him more time. And that's up to Congress to give him more time. But what I don't like from what I'm hearing from the Democrats, especially the mayor, oh, we're working with him. Okay, so you're working with the motherfucker that wants martial law. And he already mentioned, what did he mention? I got my note right here. He mentioned that this action could be used for a model of other cities. So not only does he want to do this to DC, where you just round people up, kick them out of the camps and all this stuff. Oh, it's you either going to jail or you're going to a shelter where it's going to be packed and there's going to be a lot of fighting, because poverty causes a lot of hardship. Poverty is the reason why a lot of people stress out and trying to struggle. So instead of looking at the issue that, oh, there's poverty, we are the largest economy in the world. Why the fuck we can't handle our homelessness when there's other economies smaller than us that don't have homelessness? This is really a thing right now. There are countries that extinguish homelessness, but we're so reactionary here. We see you as a threat because you can't afford to pay your bills, because you can't afford to have to pay your rent on time. You can't afford to keep your kids. You can't afford to have a car. You don't have a license. You got mental health issues. You're drug addicted. You're the problem. We got the problem. You're the problem. So since we're reactionary here, we're going to criminalize you for being homeless. And we're going to go after every black and brown person that we think are gangbangers and thugs and committing crimes. Oh, they're not doing that? Look at this conversation right here. This was on Breakthrough News. Like I said, it was two brothers sitting on the steps of their own property, minding their own business, And here comes the Metropolitan Police. And let's see what happens. Let's look at this exchange. Popping up.
Well, no, I live right here. Okay, cool. It's a cigarette.
All right, let me rewind for you guys. And shouts out to everybody on Twitter that's watching. I see y'all on Twitter. Shouts out to Twitter. Well, it's called X now, right? Fuck Elon. All right, here we go. Is it? Let me remove. Okay, add it back. Bear with me. StreamYard is just, y'all know how StreamYard is. Okay, there you go.
Y'all get a call or something about right here?
No, so we're doing checks, keeping everybody safe down here, right? Have you heard of the federal surge that Donald Trump's putting out?
No.
Right. You don't follow like
No.
Code 3, anything like that people are putting up? All right, so yeah, Trump's got all federal agencies kind of coming together, 7 days of going out, trying to stop the violent crime, all kind of stuff. So we're out here contacting people, talking to them, right? Quality of life offenses.
Harassing.
Drinking in public, right? Can't happen outside, right? Most people know that. Right? So we're contacting people, trying to advise them of the law so they learn, right? And then if there's other stuff going on where it turns into there's multiple agencies or somebody, there's a shooting and things like that.
They're harassing.
Right? So we're just out here trying to inform people and educate people. It's not like we're trying to just go grab people and ruin someone's life.
That's a damn lie.
I only asked because when you walked up, at the moment you walked up, you only had eggs.
Yeah, well, it smelled like the odor of marijuana, burnt marijuana in the air, right? And you're the only guy that had something lit in your hand, and I didn't flash like you, so I didn't realize it was just a cigarette. So that's on me. I appreciate you understanding and not getting chippy. So, just, right, learn, teach, tell your boys, like, yo, everybody's out. From FBI to park police. Right? So do your thing, let them know. Don't be smoking outside, don't be drinking outside. Because Donald Trump is...
Aren't you grown? Don't be smoking outside, don't be drinking outside. Aren't you grown?
It's recreational use as well, right?
Oh, he said, don't be smoking outside, don't be drinking outside. Aren't you grown? You can do whatever the hell you want when you grown, right? As long as it's nothing crazy. This is insane, dude. Like, this, yo. And they're talking about how they talking about how they arrested at least a dozen to 24 people already. And she named the idiot name. She's an idiot. The speaker for Donald Trump. She's an idiot. She named all these crimes. And I'm like, it sounds like this is just crimes that happen all over the country. Like, drunk driving. Oh, drunk driving. Oh my God. The city is in calamity. We found somebody on the DUI. Oh my God. Dude, what? I'm trying to bring up this. Okay, so I don't know if y'all can see it on my screen, but here's what a clown wrote in the comment section. And again, emphasis on clown. Bring back stop and frisk. Yeah. Let's start going back to harassing people just because you think they might be about to commit a crime or going to commit a crime, planning to commit a crime, already committed a crime. Let's go back to that barbaric law. Stop and frisk all over the country, right? Let's bother me because I got dreadlocks and I'm going to work, which I do every single day. Go to freaking work. Dude, it's not right. And everybody knows it's not right. Everybody knows it's not right. And Donald Trump is crazy as hell because he said himself that not only he wants to do this for DC, but he thinks this is such a good idea that he wants to do this in every city. And DC is the only city he can do this to right now legally because DC is not a state. DC doesn't have their own rights, really. They have to go by federal. You know, the mayor has no choice but to go by federal. I mean, a lot of the things that they want to get done in DC, it's the government, the Senate, and the House. It's a whole process they got to go through just to get things done. So I understand why the mayor is saying, "Oh, we should be a state." Now, as a socialist, when I look at this is just a reactionary issue. And it's always reactionary. There's no solving anything when you go reactionary like this. If homelessness is a problem, we need to, one, look at how much it costs to live in DC. Create affordable housing programs. Put a rent freeze. Create affordable housing programs. Get people into affordable housing. You don't need all these professionals and all these fucking richies and all this stuff to fill your economy in DC. Hey, guess what? That's why a lot of your apartment buildings are empty. New York's having the same problem. The more empty apartment buildings, the higher the homelessness. You ever wonder why that's a thing? Oh no, because being poor is a crime. We don't look at them. Those are criminals, apparently. No. Guess how much safer the city is when people are housed and people don't have to worry about living off a park bench. I've been to DC multiple times. Yes, the homelessness is bad, but it's a symptom of the disease called capitalism, where we are living in a profit over people system. And when we live in a profit over people system, we have homelessness on a skyrocket. We got vacant houses, more vacant houses in the United States of America than homeless people. It's a capitalism issue. It's not a worker's problem. The worker wants to work. People want to live. They can't when they are always threatening to be homeless. And when they become homeless, they are already automatically seen as a criminal. It's disgusting, dude. It's so disgusting. And this is an issue that's just not a Republican issue. This is also a Democrat issue. Democrats are allowing rent to go high as hell in their cities as well too. Okay, I live in New Haven, which is a Democratic city, and the rent here is insane. $3,000 rent we talking about. $2,000 rent was a thing that we were outraged about a few years ago. We're now seeing places at $3,000 rent, and guess what? A lot of these places are empty. It's only like 2 or 3 tenants in these places. Maybe 5 if they're lucky. They're empty. They're building all this, and they want the professionals. They want to bring in the professionals, and they can't. A lot of people don't want to stay. These jellies don't want to stay. A lot of these jellies go back to where they was. They don't stay, and if they do, they're always like, "Yo, this is too expensive here." I know a few of them that told me that. And they're leaving, Aliker. So maybe, Aliker, you should take some advice from your people that have been telling you, bro. Yo, if you're from New Haven, tag Aliker into this. Because I saw his ass at the trans rally, and we support trans people on this platform. But your ass, you don't support trans people neither. You just want to get votes. You want to make sure they vote your ass back in. All right. No, man, it's just this. I don't know. Guys, I don't know what else we can do about this. We have to destroy this system. We got to shut this fucking system down, because This man is out here thinking like, oh, so since you can't afford to live anywhere, I can just kick you out or put you in jail. So we got nonviolent offenders in jail off of the already nonviolent drug offenders, which is majority in prison. That's why they call it the war on drugs. Looks like a camp to me. Free labor is what they are looking for. How is this democracy? How? This is the largest economy in the world. And I don't even have to bring up a socialist government to prove my point. Norway, Denmark, they pay their students free tuition and they pay their students. China, 50% of young people already are able to afford housing and they buy houses, home ownership. Guess what the home ownership rate is for people my age and younger in the United States? It's like 20% now. 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck or being threatened to be evicted. 60%. If it ain't time for a fucking revolution, baby, I don't know what time it is. Because the answer is not what Donald Trump is saying to do. Throw everybody in jail. Have the National Guard and the Metropolitan Police go around harassing everybody. Those gentlemen were smoking a cigarette on their own front porch. What gives you the right to bother them? And then tells them, oh, don't be outside smoking and drinking. I'm grown. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. What you mean don't be outside on my own property smoking and drinking? Bitch, I'm gonna smoke and drink. These people is cat, bro. These people were cat. They cat, bro. Oh my God. It's just so disgusting because it's like they want to give you this notion of like, this is the land of the free. For who? The white man living in the suburbs? Is he the only one that's free? Because I'm not. I go outside and I lose my ID. They're going to deport my ass at this point because they're deporting Americans anyway right now. They're not even just supporting people that are here working hard, that are coming from another country, working hard. They deporting motherfuckers at their jobs. And then they see you and you look ethnic and you American, they'll tell you to your face that you're not American. And then they'll take your ass. Multiple videos. And I showed a few of them in the past episode. So we don't really need to see that. That's going to get me worked up. Alligator Alcatraz, all that shit. There are hardly any violent criminals in Alligator Alcatraz. Actually, when you look at the damn numbers, majority is people that are in trouble for driving infractions, shoplifting, little small petty crimes, not even petty crimes, misdemeanors and shit. If this not fascism, then what the fuck is it? We are definitely in a phase of fascism. You can't say it's full blown yet. We could definitely say it's getting there. Is it not? Give me an argument that says it's not. Please tell me. My name is Jamar Jabari, and please donate to my Cash App, which is right under Jabari Vok Media, if you would like to support the show. For people that just came in watching, because I see the uptick went a little bit. Thank you so much for taking your time out to talk to listen to me. I want to get into Russia. And this is the final segment of the live stream. And Putin and Donald Trump are to meet in Alaska on Friday. Okay? We put that up there so people can see what we're talking about. Putin and Donald Trump are to meet in Alaska on Friday. Today, I believe that there were a stream conversation, webcam, whatever the fuck they used, Zoom, whatever they used. There was a conversation between Zelensky and Trump. I'm still looking to see what they talked about. Here's my thing. I'm tired. So before I get to the summit, I'm gonna tell you how I feel about Ukraine right now. and I'm totally disgusted by Piers Morgan. On Twitter, tag Piers Morgan, guys. I know I see y'all watch it. Tag Piers Morgan and tell Piers Morgan that he is a simp for Empire. A simp. And the challenge of the day while I discuss this segment, I'm going to not curse. And if I do, I'm sorry. Piers Morgan is a simp. Piers Morgan goes on. He doesn't go. It says show. Piers Morgan has a panel where he has one Ukrainian woman. I'm not even going to say her name. Go watch the show because I don't even want to give her any type of presence. One Ukrainian woman that is on the Kiev side. He doesn't even get enough Ukrainians on. I can see if you get a Ukrainian from the Donbass region, the Lugansk region. But by the way, you don't want to because there's a blackout on communications there. Every journalist have told me this that I have spoken to and I've read reports on. There's a blackout in those regions on the eastern side. They don't want us connecting. They don't want us connecting to those people because they will tell you how they actually feel in this Ukrainian conflict. They want you to only listen to the ones that are on Kiev's side. There's been a civil war, ladies and gentlemen, in Ukraine before 3 years ago, before Putin even invaded. There was an 8-year civil war that started in 2014 in the Maidan coup, which some people call the Maidan Revolution. And I think that they are Nazis that call them the Maidan Revolution. And I will explain why I feel that way. It's a Maidan coup. My government spent over $100 million for that coup to be successful. They took out the Democratic elected president Yanukovych, and they replaced him with a neo-Nazi, a man that literally called him. What's crazy is that liberals will argue that this shit's not true, but he literally said it in a documentary. He said it multiple times that he's in the right sector and he is a neo-Nazi. Petro Poroshenko is a neo-Nazi, and this is probably when YouTube might want to kick me off, but it's okay. I'm pretty sure X will let me do it, so I'm gonna finish this live stream. So here we go. Petro Poroshenko is unpopular. Yeah, we know that. We know he was unpopular. He started a war, and he killed and shelled the Donbass region. He killed over 20,000 ethnic Russian Ukrainians. Now, here's something very, very interesting about how I learned about this, because I wasn't even in some form of journalism or podcasting when around this time when this happened. I read about it. I'm an activist. I'm a socialist, so I had some kind of knowledge about Ukraine. But I used to work at Logisticare. I'm not going to say this woman's name because I do not want to put her on any type of shape or form being noticed, because she is a refugee and she deserves to live in peace with her family. She left Ukraine shortly after the Maidan coup was successful and the war started. The reason why she left Ukraine, and she told me this herself, because I used to smoke cigarettes, and that's where I met her, that Ukrainian woman who was a refugee. This was in 2015, I believe, or 16, one of those. She told me that the reason why she left is because the Nazis, which is a small minority. The Nazis polling says is about 2% is what I saw in last research. 2% of Ukraine. So that does not make Ukraine a Nazi country. All right. I want to put that out there. I want people to fully understand what the hell I'm talking about, because people have been literally misled about this conflict. They put a Nazi in office with a Nazi government. 2% of the country is Nazi. Okay? Neo-Nazis. She left because she's from the eastern region, the Donbass region, and they immediately started attacking her people in the Donbass area, in the eastern area, the area where they voted in the referendum and became a part of Russia, that area. Crimea too, they did the same thing. Westerners would tell you that that's not a real referendum. They said, oh, they had a gun to their head. There's videos. I saw the videos. There was no gun to their heads. There was people, they lined up, they voted, they left and went home. And then at the end of the day, the vote went towards Russia. So don't sit here. There was people and independent journalists I spoke to. I covered this story. I had Parker on. God, what was his name? Justin Parker. He ran for Congress on the third party ticket in California. Please go check that brother out. Very great brother. He went to Ukraine and he did a fact checking journalistic tour, and he came back with a lot of information. Please go check that out. Very good panel. I had him on twice, and it was a very good panel. So this information is for people that don't stay onto the issue. They don't know. But people that stay on the issue, you know. How we get to Zelensky. Zelensky was voted in because Petro Poroshenko started a whole fucking war, killing other Ukrainians that the media said they were Russian separatists. The media here, they acknowledged that there was a neo-Nazi issue before 2020. Before 2022. They acknowledged there was a neo-Nazi issue. They even called out people that were sending guns to the neo-Nazi regime. All this was covered on New York Times, The Nation, everywhere, right? Rutgers, everywhere, dude, was covering this before 2022. They always telling on this. They flipped the script after Putin invaded. So Zelensky comes in. I've read his campaign. I read this man's campaign, bro. He was pro peace in his campaign. He wanted to unify Ukraine again. He wanted to bring Russia back on a friendly talks. It's crazy that I'm saying this because you know how he's talking now about Ukraine and Russia relationship. He hates the Russians, apparently. By the way, he comes from the Donbass region. He's an ethnic Russian speaking Ukrainian. He's ethnically Russian speaking Ukrainian. He speaks Russia very, very clearly. And Ukrainians make jokes as well, too, that I see on Twitter about, his Ukrainian is but he could definitely speak Russian really, really well. But he fakes like he doesn't really know Russian anymore. This is, dude, you think I'm lying. Look it up. This man pretends that he doesn't know Russian anymore. His Ukrainian is okay. It's not even the best. Literally, these are what Ukrainians tell us. So this guy is a clown. He used to be a comedian. This motherfucker he goes around the world. Oh, we need more money. We need more money. Give us more money. Give us more money while you're losing. Over 1 million Ukrainians are dead, and a lot of them have been forcefully transcribed. You see the videos all over X, those videos on Facebook. I was shocked how they got through because they've been doing very, very well with hiding that shit. They've been doing very, very well with hiding that shit. But some of them videos do get through. I see them on Telegram a lot because I had the link on Telegram. But Zelensky's a clown, and he needs to get out of office. He doesn't want to have an election. We get it. Y'all at war. But no one's going to see you as a legitimate leader as much as you want them to see you as. The West is going to see you as a legitimate leader, I guess. So that's perfectly fine for you. But Europe doesn't even have their own foreign policy. Europe's foreign policy is to follow us. Whatever the Americans tell them to do, that's what Europe does. They're yes men at this point. They don't have no sovereignty. Their sovereignty is under United States imperialism. That's where their sovereignty is. It's held hostage by the United States imperialism. And these lies that they spew out saying that, Putin wants to take over all of Europe. Putin wants to restore the USSR. When the USSR, he was very, 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 in all his speeches that he talks about the USSR, he was very, very against the USSR. Oh, but the CIA said that he was part of the Communist Party. So now you believe the CIA when it's convenient with things you want to believe. Oh man. Like if we're gonna critique Putin, let's critique Putin. I'm going to critique Putin. I'm going to tell you exactly the problems I have with Putin. Because I actually don't support Putin. Okay? I support the Socialist Party in Russia when it comes to what I support. I support the working class people in Russia. I support the queers who are under oppression in Russia. As a queer man, I stand in solidarity with my fellow Russian queer people who are always demonized in Russia because Putin is a homophobic asshole. I don't like Putin. But I'm not going to be sitting here joining the liberals on some false lies about Vladimir Putin that's really just lies. I'm going to critique Vladimir Putin on what's actually truthful about him. He's a homophobic asshole, and he does have a theocratic type of democracy there, where the oligarchs have a lot of control. And you know why that exists? Because of capitalism, not socialism. Socialism died in Russia before I was born, when it collapsed in 1991. There is no resurgence in this ruling party that Putin is a part of to bring back the USSR. Putin is a capitalist. Putin has Republican strong views. If Putin was a politician here in America, he'll be next to Mike Huckabee and be saying some dumb homophobic shit. That is what Putin will. That's the comparison of Putin's politics to me. Now, I would give him some grace because he's not a Zionist. For what I know of, he's not a Zionist. I give him grace for not being a Zionist, but I do take issue with him mentioning when they talk about Israel, because now he's talking about how what's happening to the Palestinians is messed up. But before that, he said, "Oh, there's 2 million Russians in Israel." That's what his explanation was going on in the genocide in Palestine. And by the way, free fucking Palestine. He is problematic. The Socialist Party needs to come back in Russia. In fact, the Socialist Party is the second most powerful, most popular party in Russia. Russia does have a democracy. Maybe it's a different democracy that you don't know about, but they do have a democratic process. And to say that they are a dictatorship and all this, why is Putin so popular? Let's break this down. Putin was able to bring I was about to say USSR. Putin was able to bring Russia out of a collapse that was curated and carefully funded by the United States government. That was the United States that wanted to make sure that once the USSR fell, that Russia can no longer be on the world stage. They wanted to make sure Russia was destroyed. Hundreds of thousands of Russians died from the transition to socialism and capitalism in the USSR. And this is what pisses me off, when Russophobic liberals want to talk about the past and never, ever talk about the implications that their own government did to these countries for them to be the way that they are now. Russians don't hate Americans. Russians hate American imperialism. And any Russian will tell you that. Hell, they told them that on Piers Morgan. They literally brought one Russian guy in on Piers Morgan. He explained it to them. And literally, instead of having a conversation, oh, how can we have peace with these Trump and Zelensky talk, not Zelensky's and Putin talks that's on the way? How can we have peace with them? Instead of talking about what a peace process can look like, they disrespected the country of Russia. They called them third world when they're not. You could Google it and see that they have the fourth largest economy in the world. They did a lot getting back to where they are, and they should be respected and revered. And their claim on NATO is a real claim, because Biden even promised Putin that they will never expand NATO around their borders. And what did they do? They expanded NATO around the borders. Putin's only issue was Ukraine becoming a NATO member. And he was right, because that's exactly what the Russian people did not want as well too. They did not want any NATO on their borders, and they definitely did not want Ukraine to be on their borders. Why? Why do you think Ukraine is such a big deal? Every single imperialist leader used Ukraine to invade Russia. They used, Napoleon did it. Hitler did it. Even Stefan Bandera, who they like to revere over there in the western Kiev region of Ukraine, the neo-Nazi himself, who have murdered so many Polish people, it was ridiculous. But a Red Scare Polish descent person here will tell you, oh, it was only the communists, because Stalin had this stupid general go with the Germans to invade Poland, which was part of starting World War II. Yeah, Stalin made a stupid ass decision to make a pact with Hitler, hoping that Hitler does not attack Russia. But Stalin was wrong. Hitler had the plans to attack Russia, and he did. And in that war, 27 million Russians died. And then after Hitler gets murdered, well, after Hitler gets like world stars himself, and he world stars his wife that he married the day before, we got the Berlin Wall, Germans getting picked off and stuff. And what happens? What does the U.S. do? The U.S. wants to build something called NATO. And then they say it's a defensive force, but then you start seeing that NATO's being built to target Russia. So why are Russian working class people afraid of NATO? Because the history has shown, especially with the USSR collapsing, that NATO was designed to destroy and conquer Russia. Throughout history, there have been powerful men that have targeted Russia. And America is the next enemy to them. But these Russians don't hate Americans. They hate American imperialism. And they tell y'all this. And y'all just sit here and just pretend that they don't exist, and what they're saying is not true and all this nonsense. And it's really, really fucking fucked up that y'all do that. And I get it. The propaganda is so strong. They taught you that communism is evil and all this nonsense. When communism itself, the system itself, has never existed. Never existed at all. It's a theory still. The USSR was a socialist government. Some people even say that it was a pre-socialist government. It wasn't even a full socialist government like how China is. And I know some people say, oh, China's not a socialist government. You got the social market. And so right now, China's a socialist government, guys. Okay? Sorry. That's my stance on that. North Korea, socialist government. Cuba, socialist government. Vietnam, socialist government. It's a lot of socialism going on. There's a lot of socialist governments. Colombia is still capitalist in its form, but it has a socialist party that's running it. Venezuela, mostly capitalist, but it has a socialist party running it. There are a lot of socialist governments in the world that are very, very successful. So the concept that socialism doesn't work, it's a lie. Capitalists want you to believe so they can keep their foot on your neck. Now let's go to the Putin and the Trump summit. We're about to end this live stream soon. I don't really expect. Here's my thing. I was listening to Manila Chan, and I don't agree with everything that she says, but she does have a lot of great points on things I agree with. And these are one of the things that she said that I totally agree with, because she used to work with Sputnik, and Sputnik was targeted. And they don't even get that many members, by the way, in the United States, but they were still targeted. They only had like an audience of like 200 to maybe 1,000 people on a daily week. You know what I mean? Really not that. Those are not really members that the United States should be fearing, but they did, and Biden got rid of them. So Manila Chan is mad, and I stand in solidarity with that sister. She should be mad. Jamal Thomas too. Everybody from Sputnik should be mad. Jamal Blackman, everybody. So she said something about how Russians are more like, hey, Putin, you kind of soft on these Ukrainians. And this is true. This is true. It would be an embarrassment to Putin if he goes to Alaska and whatever they talk about does not benefit Russia. Putin can't go back to his country, fella. No. Majority of Russians want Putin to be more aggressive when it comes to Ukraine. You have to understand, these people fought Nazis, and they remember it. Their family members died, 27 million. And here you have a regime that glorifies neo-Nazis and and they're right at their border. And they've been shelling and banning the Russian language, trying to ban the Orthodox Church. They banned every single opposition party that Zelensky deemed was opposition. The Rada is literally just motherfuckers that are fascist as hell. That's who in the Rada now. So of course the Russians want to get rid of the rot that is within the Kiev government. Because I understand where Russians are coming from, because I feel the same way as a black man, and we talk about the KKK. That's how I feel about the KKK. I want to remove the stain of the KKK out of the federal government. I want to remove the stain of the KKK out of the police force. Hell, I want to abolish the police at this point. Fuck the police. I want to remove white supremacy away from this country. I want to get rid of that shit. I understand Russians when they feel that way about a people that see you as less than human. Basically a monkey. You expect me to want to like have better relations with someone that hates who I am just because of how I was born? Excuse me? I totally get that shit. I totally understand why Russians are like, you're not doing enough, Putin. Now, do I agree with what's going on? I do not agree with what's going on with the invasion. I felt like Putin should never invade it. I'm sorry, Russians. I feel like Putin should never invade it. Why? Because it made it worse. I understand the diplomatic process was annoying while you're sitting here trying to get peace deals done and making sure that they are held accountable to their peace deals. Motherfuckers like Angela Merkel and Petro Poroshenko come out and say, hey, well, you know, the last Minsk agreement, we were just looking to buy time so we could build an army. That's crazy. They lied. And I don't have an answer on what else diplomatic you can do to prevent ethnic Russian Ukrainians being targeted and killed and shelled to the point where people were living in their basements for years because they were getting shelled like that so many times. And when the invasion happened, they were able to stop that shit in the Lugansk and the Lugansk region, the Lugansk and the Donetsk regions. They were able to stop that. And ethnic Russian Ukrainians were able to somewhat get to a normalcy with back to their lives, and they deserve that. You know what I mean? So what I see out of the summit, I really just don't know. I don't know what's going to come out of the summit on Friday, but we're going to know what comes out. I'm just shocked that Putin goes to Alaska. I'm like, oh, you gonna go to Alaska? Like, you don't want to bring him? You want to bring Putin to? You want to bring Trump to Russia? You gonna go to Alaska? Okay, all right. Yeah. I hope they don't try to arrest you, bro. I mean, I know that they probably not, but like, it's still in the back of my mind. Like, would they arrest him for showing up? You know what I mean? And the concessions is the last part. There's a polling because the media wants to talk about, oh, Putin wants land concessions. Of course he does. Putin won. I need people to understand that when it comes to Ukraine, yes, Ukrainians were formidable and were fighting back. They lost the most. They lost 20% of their land off of referendums, and they can't defeat the Russians. The Russians are 10 times stronger. Putin is the winner in this conflict. And when you are the winner, you dictate what you want. Do I like that? No. I wish that Russia and Ukraine came up with some form of peaceful diplomatic talks. I know it wasn't possible because Petro Poroshenko was a bitch. I get it. And I hope he doesn't come back after they remove this Zelensky, because we know that that's what they're. Come on, this is America, bro. When we don't like what our puppets are doing, we get rid of them somehow. We don't have to, the killing, they don't do the killing no more as much, but they will get rid of you. And then you'll be living in Zelensky's Jewish, he's a Zionist too. So he'll probably go to Israel, or he'll probably hide out in Florida, where all the other dictators that America couldn't get them to do their job. Maybe he'll be Juan Guaido's roommate. And Juan Guaido could be, hey, I declare myself president of Ukraine, because he can't get Venezuela. Oh, that guy's a clown too. Yeah, man. I mean, the polls, the Gallup poll, which is one of my favorite polls, showed that in the West, over 50% of Ukrainians want a peace deal. They're tired of their kids getting grabbed for transcription. They're tired of seeing coffins coming back if they get their family members back. Because you gotta remember, Zelensky has to pay out what is owed when the soldier body comes back. So there's this whole thing about, not all the families are getting their bodies back, and then Putin said that, we're giving them, here's the truck, all this stuff, and Zelensky's like, oh no, it's not there. It's like, who is that? He say bullshit, but we know you gotta pay that money, bro. You over here forcing these people to go and fight after you had all these concessions. You complain about how you can't be a part of the peace deal anymore when you was part of the peace deal process for the last 2 years before Trump got in office. So now the script is flipping. You over here being a man baby. I have no respect for this man. Clearly I don't like him. But my thing is, like, dude, like 50% of Ukrainians in the Gallup poll said that we want a peace deal, and we want not just a peace deal, but we are willing to give up land concessions. So this is not just Trump saying it. This is not just Putin saying it. This is my issue with liberals. They choose a side, and they choose it without looking at the nuance. And since they ignore the nuance, they hate everything that doesn't agree with their nuance. They don't call you, pointing at myself, a Russian bot. Even though I have no fucking ties to Russia. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I'm poor. So I'm not getting the Russian check. I wouldn't mind the Russian check, feel me? But that's another story. Yeah, man, I really don't know what is going to happen. But I'm pretty sure no one knows what's going to happen because Donald Trump is very unpredictable. So I want to end this live stream, and I want everybody to have a really good day. I want to give a shout out to everyone out there on X that tuned in, everyone out there on Twitter, not Twitter X is the same thing. Everyone out there on YouTube, everybody out there on Meta that can see this. Sorry, there will be a restream soon, so you can rewatch. I don't know why Meta is not allowing me to share right now. Meta is trash, trying to say I'm spamming when I'm doing the same thing that I have done multiple times for the past 4 or 5 years since I've had this podcast. That's sad, Meta. You're trash. Let's pray for our people in the struggle here in the United States in the belly of the beast. ICE must be abolished. The police departments must be abolished. Trump got to get out of office. The system got to be the system has to be destroyed and replaced. There we go. With working class power. We got to take the means of production and fight. Because here we are. We're dealing with fascism. And fascism just gets worse and worse and worse. My heart goes out to the people in DC. I know what it's like when a cop gets killed in these neighborhoods. They ransack the entire neighborhood. They terrorize everybody. They go up in your yards, everything. You know what I mean? It used to be worse. Back in the 80s and the 90s, they would go up in the house, beat everybody ass in the apartment complex, bro. That's because a cop got killed. So Trump is trying to use a form of violence to think that it will make this country a better place, when all it would do is put us more in chains. Send a solidarity with all the oppressed people, and have a
blank period. On my black, brown, and indigenous. Gotta holler if you really feeling this. Gotta holler if you really real enough. Other rappers is delirious. Yeah, it's really that serious. Better holler if you really feeling me. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna live in abundance.